Welcome to this short introduction to ecology, ecosystem, and environment. The learning outcomes of this session would be by the end of this session, you will be able to define and explain the terms environment, ecosystem, and ecology. You'll be able to identify the interactions between living and non living parts of an ecosystem. You'll be able to understand the many connections that exist within an ecosystem using relevant examples, and you should be able to analyze the effects of human actions on ecosystems and ecosystem services. Now, let us begin with the three E's: environment, ecosystem, and ecology. Environment is a term which we relate with either the actual physical surroundings or the social or cultural background. Environment or nature is a term that denotes the natural world as a whole or in a particular geographical area, normally which is affected by the human activity. It is one's own immediate surrounding where we live and where you act and where you engage in your activities. That is where we define environment as an organism's immediate surrounding consisting of both living and non-living things. It includes air, water, minerals, organisms, and all other external factors surrounding and affecting a given organism at any time. But remember, an environment doesn't really include the relationship that exists between the living and physical attributes of the surroundings compared to our understanding of an ecosystem that shows the ecological relationship relating to all organisms and the environment. Moving on to the concept of ecosystem, it denotes a community of organisms together with their physical environment, which include both biotic as well as abiotic factors. So, all the living and non living components of an environment and how they interact with each other. In other words, ecosystem denotes the active dimensions. It is a dynamic, it is not just a collection of parts, it is a dynamic whole. If we need to understand an ecosystem, we need to know what are the parts that make up the ecosystem, what are the biotic aspects, what are the abiotic factors, and how it interacts and work together. And which means who or what populates an ecosystem, what are their roles, and how these roles changes over a period of time, or how do these ecosystems react to disruptions, or how do they react to any changes that might affect the system. And then we have the field ecology, which means the scientific analysis and study of interactions among organisms and their environment. And it is this German scientist, Ernest Haeckel, who coined the term ecology to classify it as a branch of biology that focuses on our immediate surrounding or our environment. Although this became a rigorous science in the late 19th century, Uh, right from the ages of Hippocrates and Aristotle, there are studies on natural history. In between, a little bit about Ernest Haeckel. He's a German biologist, naturalist, a philosopher, a physician, a marine biologist, an artist, and professor, having doctorates in medicine and zoology. He's the one who popularized Darwin's work in Germany. And he's credited with naming around 150 different species during a trip to the Mediterranean. And he's also known to be the first person to use the term First World War. Because earlier it was called European War and the Great War. And that is just an additional information about Ernest Haeckel, which I would like to share with you. Now, with this, let us understand who is an ecologist. So, an ecologist is a person who explores the mechanisms by which living organisms interact with each other and with the physical and chemical components of their environment. An ecologist scientifically studies both the biotic interactions and the abiotic interactions. And an ecologist would be, would be asking some of the questions we discussed, just few minutes before. They would be interested to know the parts that make up ecosystem, the type of interactions. They would be looking at what happens when a species is removed from the system, or how does an adding of a population, whether it is an invasive species or translocated herds, affect an ecosystem, and how an ecosystem adapts to the changes. So, but from a sociologist's point of view, when we look at ecology, we can have a very general understanding. Any curious person who investigates the processes of nature also becomes an ecologist. Now, with this short introduction to these three concepts: environment, ecosystem, as well as ecology, let us move to our understanding of the levels of organization. It was Eugene Odom who, in the year 1953, emphasized and popularized ecological hierarchy as an organizing principle in ecology. Although currently, we are using a much more flexible way of understanding this. Yet, our understanding of these levels of organization also becomes very significant. So, according to Odom, the varying levels include individual, population, community, ecosystem, biome, and biosphere. Now, moving to a short introduction to each of these levels. We begin with our understanding of an organism. An organism means any unicellular or multicellular form that exhibit all the characteristic of life is called an organism. It becomes the lowest level of organization, which means starting from um, an amoeba to a higher order organism, a tiger or a butterfly or a human, all becomes an organism. In the next level, Autumn talks about population. So, when we have a group of organisms of one species living in the same place and at the same time, and that interbreed and compete with each other for resources like food, mate, and shelter, then we call it a population. And species means a group of organisms so similar so that they can breed and produce viable offsprings. So when we have a group of individuals of one species living in the same area and same time, we call it population. This is the second level. Then what happens when we have several interacting populations, inhabiting in a common environment and are dependent with each other? So when we have the assemblages of populations of different species that inhabit the same place at the same time, we call it a community. So in this way, community becomes the biotic or living component of an ecosystem. But remember, communities do not necessarily have strict physical boundaries, and species may move in and out of an area. And there can be different types of interactions between these diverse species. It can be predatory, herbivory, or competitive relations of competition, mutualism, or parasitism. Then we have the next level, which is called the ecosystem. So community was having the biotic aspects. Now, in an ecosystem, we have both the biotic as well as abiotic factors. So it was a British ecologist Arthur Tansley who popularized the term ecosystem to reiterate the importance of transfer of materials between organisms and environment. And an ecosystem can be defined in different ways. It can be based on the dominant environment, like a desert ecosystem. It can be based on the dominant species, like the mangrove or swamp ecosystem. It can be based on the natural boundaries, like a watershed ecosystem. And it also could be, based on the artificial boundaries, like the Bandipur National Park ecosystem. And Arthur Tansley, although initially he was discussing about the importance of the transfer of materials between organisms and their environment, uh, later, he refined it, saying that it is not only organisms. Our understanding of an ecosystem also should be considering the physical factors. And he also used the term ecotop to talk about a spatial extent of ecosystem which is ecologically distinct, because he regarded these ecosystems as not just natural units but as mental isolates. So an ecosystem can be of different sizes. It can be, we can think about a pond, a pond ecosystem. We can talk about a marine ecosystem, a terrestrial ecosystem. And an ecosystem is very dynamic. It is subject to periodic disturbances. It could be controlled by both external factors like climate and topography, or internal factors like the kinds of species as well as the nature of competition. And it is believed that an ecosystem with a larger biodiversity would be much more resilient to change. Another approach of grouping ecosystems is to characterize them based on the predominant vegetation. That is where we get this concept of biomes. A biome is a group of ecosystem that have the same climate and similar dominant communities. So it was Robert H. Whittaker, an American plant ecologist, who divided the biosphere into 9 terrestrial biomes in the year 1975, which is characterized by the major vegetation types in consideration with the annual temperature and precipitation. And today we talk about around 12 plus terrestrial biomes across the biosphere. What is a biosphere? It is the highest level of organization that includes all the life supporting portions of earth composed of air, land and fresh water. So the atmosphere, hydrosphere, lithosphere, ecosphere all together could be called the biosphere. So although we depend a lot on these levels of organization provided by Odom in our understanding of the ecological dynamics, compared to the ecologists of the 1950s, today, uh, you know, we tend to consider the elements of ecological hierarchy in a much less fixed term, and we consider that as very dynamic. Now, as an activity, let us move on to an interactive app that help us to understand in detail about the varying biomes. You can go through this particular website, biointeractive.org, classroom resources biome viewer. So this is the biome viewer. In the left pane, that will give you the details of all kinds of important biomes. If you click on each, it will tell you about a little bit of explanation about that particular biome. And in this interactive this is an interactive app. We can click on a particular region which you are interested in. Then this app will help us to understand the climate, the biodiversity in that region, as well as the other related aspects. So here we had clicked on Garfield County, and it's a desert region, and they talks about the climate and also talks about how many species of reptiles, amphibians and mammals are in that region. So like this, you can use this app to understand the biodiversity in any region. For example, I clicked in, at the tropical rainforest, Rangana in India. So where we can understand the species diversity, 47 species of reptiles, 52 species of amphibians, and 88 species of mammals. So in your asynchronous reading sessions, I have given the link for this biome viewer. As an activity, you can try and compare the biodiversity across various biomes. See you with another topic in the coming session. Thank you.